Hey Terry, welcome to our podcast,
Ollie.
our conversation. All right, mate?
O and T's combo.
Oh, we love these conversations, don't we?
Yes,
Well,
yes.
it's our
Hey,
it's our sweet spot, isn't it?
yes. And this time we're going to stay crisp.
Crisp, light and
Crisp.
crispy.
Yeah.
So this conversations, we do love a bit of mindset, and we do love a little bit of sort of neuroplasticity, and how to sort of rewire your brain to thrive rather than survive. So let's talk about that. But let's just define what neuroplasticity actually means to you. What's your sort of definition of it?
I like to keep things simple.
Yeah.
It's how your brain wires things together, right?
And how
The
does it do
more,
that?
well, through repetition.
Yeah.
So every habit, every um, state that
Yeah.
you constantly access,
Yeah.
state of mind, emotion, whatever it is, the more you do it, the easier for it is to access, for your brain
Yes.
to access. Yeah, right.
Hmm.
And the analogy I often use is like a grass verge.
Hmm.
Right? If you walk across that path, keep walking across the same path, what's going to
Hmm.
happen?
Yeah. So if you consistently walk the same path, then the grass is going to get trodden down. So you're
That's
actually
right.
creating
Even
space in front of you, aren't you? And you
that's
can
right. You
see
can.
it in front of you. You have this, don't you, where you go to a forest or a wood or something, and you'll see these little pathways that are man-made because the grass is
Yeah,
flat. Yeah.
yeah. And because the brain likes to do things easily.
Yeah.
Okay, what's easy for me? What have I done before? Yeah,
Mm.
right. So if the path is already there might be particular situation like a meeting, for instance.
Yeah.
And if you tend to get anxious in meetings, it's almost like your brain goes, "Oh, meeting. This is where we get anxious. Don't even have to think about it. Just get anxious."
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And we go down that path. Yeah,
Right. Yeah. So it's this unconscious trigger that is made.
yeah.
Mm.
You're not even aware of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it can be helpful as well, can't it? So
Oh
again,
yeah,
our experiences are neither positive or negative; they're just experiences, and then we put a frame or a label on them, and we liked our brain likes to do that. So it goes, well, was that helpful or not? Was that good or was that bad? You know, and then meetings become bad because you get anxious, but they're not. If you can manage the anxiety, then actually it can be whatever you want it to be, can't it?
well, it's interesting now because I think there's two things that go on for people
Mm.
in most situations, especially new ones, novelty.
Mhm.
When they walk into a meeting, it's am I safe here?
Yeah,
Right? Is the environment okay? But also, there's our need for certainty.
yeah, yeah.
Now I have I mean, just my theory, which it is,
Hmm.
you know. Um, I think a lot of anxiety is caused in any context, whether it's leadership, management, relationships.
Yeah,
It's our need for certainty,
yeah.
and because the brain doesn't like uncertainty, it
Hmm.
makes stuff up,
Yeah, so it's
and it
unpredictable. It doesn't like that.
yeah, and it doesn't care what it makes up
Mm.
as long
Yes.
as it makes it up. And because of our natural inclination to look for threat rather than because
Hmm.
we go back to caveman days,
Yeah.
yeah, because of our natural
Instinct.
instinct to look for threat,
Mm.
what we tend to make up
Hmm.
is not useful.
Yeah, and this is where we want to talk about how to, in a world where more and more people are becoming stressed, especially leaders, people who run businesses, and just generally people in relationships tend to now mention, mental health a lot and stress related illness, even things like anxiety and depression are kind of circulating. Wouldn't it be great to help us understand a little bit more about actually different types of stress? Because not all stress is bad, but also how we can manage stress and maybe sort of rewire that stress into a strength for us. Because if you want to excel at something, you have to accept that there will be a little bit of friction in your life because you're not there yet. Everything's uncertain, as you mentioned, right?
Yeah,
So you're becoming something that you're imagining and creating. So none of that is certain. So if you want to be brilliant at something, whether it's playing the piano, whether it's starting a business or doing some sort of art form or whatever, there's that process of pain that you have to go through because you're totally incompetent, right? So let's look at what makes
and
stress.
I
Yeah,
think
well,
it's also being okay with being incompetent at that time.
yeah, but
That
people
means
aren't.
it's okay to not know.
Yeah, but there's this fear of failure now as well, isn't there? Where people
Yeah.
are just, you know, this perfectionism and this procrastination because nothing's perfect, and then this worry and concern and escalates into stress. But stress isn't always bad, is it, Terry?
No, not at all. And there's something up. Oh, hang on, drop my earphone. Just one
Oh,
second. Put some
okay.
holding music on. um, there's also another element that I think causes a lot of stress. I've seen this in quite a lot of contexts. Is
Mm,
what, especially if you're thinking in groups, what's
mm.
this person going to think of me? What's
Yeah.
this group going to think of me?
Hmm.
That is a major one,
Yeah.
right? Just sort of put that in the
Yeah.
the third thing that sort of
No,
causes anxiety.
comparison and judgment are all
Yeah, yeah,
got to
because
be
you
very
want to.
careful.
Most people
Uh,
want to be liked.
yeah, of course. Yeah, we're safer in numbers. We like to be in tribes.
Yeah,
You know, but that can also cause stress, can't it? Because it's them and us. We see that a lot in the world at the moment, don't we?
yeah.
So let's talk about good stress versus bad stress, or helpful stress versus unhelpful stress. So give us some tips just for a couple of minutes, Terry, on that.
Well, as you know, I'm very interested in the concept of flow,
Yeah, me too.
right? And simply put, to give you some background, it was created. It was first put forward by a Hungarian psychologist called Mihail Csikszentmihalyi.
It's easy for you to say.
Yes, yeah, his name's that long. um, and it seems to be making some sort of resurgence. I've seen at the moment, but they're
Mm,
calling it different things.
yeah.
But in essence, it's flow. Michal
Yeah.
flow, right? The research was quite deep,
Mm,
and he looked at a load of different people in different contexts,
mm.
and asked the question in a nutshell: what makes you what keeps you happy in this in work? What makes you sort of what gives you purpose?
Yeah.
What makes you feel fulfilled, right? And the common denominator was he encapsulated called something called flow, right? Now
Yeah.
flow is it's a high in athletics we call it a high performance state.
That's right.
You know, you would probably call it flow in the context of leadership. Yeah,
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
you're fully immersed, you're giving a meeting, you're running a meeting,
That's
and you're
it.
fully engaged in what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right?
It feels almost effortless and time flies by. It's
That's
like a
right.
presentation
Absolutely,
or a
yeah.
meeting or even just a piece of work. You know, when you're designing something conceptually and you just throw yourself into it and then suddenly you're not getting disturbed.
A great example is the internet.
Mm,
I'm sure you've done. No, I've done it. You
hmm.
go to research you research something on the internet,
Yeah.
and you say, "Oh, no, take 10 minutes."
Hmm.
Before you know it, bump.
Yeah, that's right.
A negative or less useful version of that is you can see
Hmm.
people now. Oh, I only went on YouTube for 15 minutes,
Yeah,
and
scrolling
before you know
through.
it, 2 hours, 3 hours have gone,
Yeah, that's right.
and they've made it that way on
Mm,
purpose
hmm.
for that dopamine hit,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
the anticipation. What's next? What's next? What's next? Right.
So help me with this. So my understanding of flow, just to help people who are listening to this understand it, is there are, for me, there's two areas of stress and flow. So one is competence, right? So
Oh, yeah,
if you're good at something, right? And if you're so good at it, and let's say your boss gives you a piece of work that's so mundane and boring that you actually have to spend hours and hours of doing something that is meaningless, then that's going to cause you a type of stress, boredom, frustration, a
that's
lack
right.
of purpose, right? But then also, if your boss gives you something that is beyond you, that stretches you far too into the unknown, that you feel deeply uncomfortable and unsettled, that's also another level of stress. Is that right?
That's right. Even if you've got the competencies to do
Yeah.
the job, but you
Yeah.
feel as though you haven't,
Yes.
you can feel that stress.
Yeah.
Conversely,
Mhm.
control, which is one of the aspects of flow, right?
Yeah.
A perception of control or a
Yeah.
feeling of control, even if it's not true, but you feel as though
Hmm.
you're not in control.
Hmm.
That's actually an element of flow.
Right.
you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, the main one, as far as I'm concerned, is that skills challenge balance, where it's that sweet spot
Gotcha.
where your skills are challenged, right? But not to the extent that you feel incompetent or out your depth or whatever. But
Yeah.
you're just on the edge of that. Some people say, "Oh, it's just on the edge, just outside your comfort zone." Well, I would
Gotcha.
say just on,
Yes. The
you know,
limit of your
the
comfort zone.
limit of, yeah, the limit of,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And if you think of the term Kaizen, which is improve 1% every day,
Okay. Right. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If you just go, okay, 1%, just a
Yeah.
little push, right?
Yeah.
That will that will widen your corridor of flow, should we say?
Of course it will. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And it's only a sort of a micro nudge forward, isn't it?
yeah.
But accumulatively, that means that you are growing and progressing and you're stepping out of your comfort zone in a
Yeah.
way that doesn't make you overtly uncomfortable, right?
And the other interesting thing is,
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned, anyway,
Mhm.
interest as far as I'm concerned,
Yeah. Yeah.
that every time you step out of you make that 1% improvement.
Yeah.
Just do 1%, right?
Hmm.
Every time you do it, it sets up a counterexample to the belief that you have. Let's say, for instance, I'm no good at this job, or I'm no
Yes.
good at X, right? But
Yeah.
each
Yeah.
time you do something a little bit, successful, a
Yeah.
little bit more, it sets up that counterexample.
Yes.
And as those counterexamples accrue,
Hmm.
the beliefs begins to shift.
Gotcha. Love
Oh,
that. Yeah,
oh, it
that's
can do
interesting.
that.
Yeah, it
Can
does,
do that.
doesn't it? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it moves, doesn't it? But it moves in a direction that you would want rather than revert back to safety and security,
That's
right?
yeah,
And that's
yeah,
where, high performance mindsets require you to do that sort of micro nudge forward in
yeah.
order for you to improve and to grow and develop and get better and achieve the things you want to achieve. So that's really interesting. But also I think, that thing about control is, when your boss gives you so much work to do, you're really competent, but then they're giving you an outrageous volume because you're going, yeah, yeah, I'll do it, because you want to accommodate, you want to be seen as being, um, that person that's there to add value to the business or the team. And so you suddenly find yourself
So some people
overwhelmed.
call it people pleasing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're swimming in work, and suddenly, you're taking work home, your relationships are breaking down, you're wondering why you're That's because you might be really capable, competent, right, and skilled, but actually what you've got is this need to be recognized, right, or this need for attention or significance through doing the work. And actually you've got to get that balance right as well, because that tilts the stress button into overdrive as well, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, again, there's no one answer to this, but
No.
one of the main things, as far as I'm concerned, is because life is stressful now, especially in work now.
Sure.
The pressure put on people. I'm so glad I don't work for anybody
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
except
yeah,
myself, right?
yeah.
And me and pressure.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
And I don't put pressure on myself.
No.
Well, actually, I do. But anyway, here's the thing, right? We put this pressure on ourselves,
Hmm.
right? Um, it's that fear of loss of safety again,
Yes.
that security. Now, security, believe it or not, is another stressor.
Mm.
Does that make sense? If
Of
we perceive
course.
we're not,
Yeah.
if we're in, we feel insecureness in a
Mm.
particular context, be a
Hmm.
job or whatever. If I
Mm.
don't do this, I'm going to lose my job. Only my opinion and what I've seen before, I've seen in past experience, be like, you know, some people, I would call them bad managers, will
Yeah,
capitalize on that.
of course.
Oh, yes, does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it
Oh,
does.
you can't do this because it's
And
that
I've seen
fear of
it.
job.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen it firsthand. I've experienced it.
I
Um,
have. Yeah.
yeah, and they don't recognize it as overwhelming their staff members, right? As if
Or
that were
do they care?
No, that's the point. So that's exactly it. So the point is, because they lack a little bit of emotional intelligence,
Mm,
what they're doing is, because they've got their own business and they want to be successful, or they're senior in a business and they want to be perceived, and they're utilizing the resources they have around them, i.e., the people, to get things done. What they're not noticing is burnout. What they're not noticing is the attitude shift, the energy change. And this is why emotional intelligence is really important now in modern leadership with the with the emergence of AI. now actually is a good thing. It will take away a lot of the administrative work, and what we'll be left with is a lot more people-based activities. And so modern leaders, people in life generally, need to be much more EQ savvy to enable them to manage relationships more effectively, which is one of the ticks in the boxes for the positives of AI, because it takes all the mundane work away, or a lot of the mundane work away from some of our roles. But yeah, I see a lot of leaders as well that are problem orientated rather than outcome orientated, which leads to burnout. And can you explain why that might be the case?
Well, we go back to the old the neuroplasticity
Yeah,
thing there. If we're wired for problems, we're wired to look for it. Having said that, sometimes I think we need in a team,
yeah,
you need someone who may be problem aware, shall we say,
of course.
right? In a team, you need that diversity.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you've got
Well,
five people going, oh, hey.
well, imagine bomb disposal. Oh, go on, just cut the brown wire. That right. So there are certain
We should be
contexts.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. So we're not saying that problem is bad, but when does it become a little bit unhelpful being problem orientated?
When it becomes habitual and you
Yeah,
cannot see
yeah,
the solution. Here's the
Mhm.
thing: when you going back to the three areas that the brain does really well, we do really well. We leave information out that we
yeah,
think. Strictly speaking, we don't leave it out. We suppress information to the contrary.
yeah. I suppose
So
it
when
creates
say,
then like a bias, then, doesn't it?
yeah, it's a bias, right? We leave information out that we think is not important, right?
Mm-hmm.
As we said earlier, we make stuff up. We don't like uncertainty, so we make stuff up. So we distort information,
Yep.
right? Right, and we make generalizations, right? And sometimes those generalizations are useful, and sometimes those generalizations are not useful, right?
Sure.
Now, here's the thing: if you're continually expecting and looking for problems, those generalizations become the main filter. Yeah,
Right.
and
Yeah.
sometimes we can only see problems. It becomes a mindset, right?
Mm.
Problem mindset.
Yeah.
I'm not particularly fond of the word mindset because it people think of it as it's like a noun,
Yes.
and it's
Yeah.
not.
It's an implied sort of
Yeah,
set
yeah. I
mindset.
need my yeah mindset, right?
Mm.
You know, no,
Immovable.
it's it's one or a collection of beliefs
Yeah.
and assumptions
Mm-hmm.
that that fit into a particular sort of frame, right? Like the flexibility mindset, right?
Yeah. I suppose the analogy really is you've got a library of books in your mind, haven't you, that you've selected, and and quite often we access the same books, we read through the same information, don't we?
Yeah, so you're in case you know to stretch the analogy a bit,
Yeah.
you go automatically go to the horror stories.
No, that's right. Yeah, no, if you're an
Yeah,
optimist, like if you generally think my life's great and every day is going to be good and I'm going to go for it, I'm going to try
life's
it.
a bowl of cherries.
Yeah, I'm going to take it and seize every moment and every opportunity. Then the library in your mind will send you the knowledge and the information that you need to
Mhm.
access to make that belief a truth. Equally, you can turn around and go, God, it's going to be another nightmare today. And in fact, this week's been awful. In fact, to be honest, hasn't this year's gone quickly? It's been bloody awful, hasn't it? And then, of course, today is going to be the same again because you're predisposed to look for all those messages that the library is going to send you to go, yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah,
pretty dark out there.
and it all goes back. It goes back to state.
Yeah,
If you enter a particular context in the wrong state or an unuseful
mm,
state, it
yeah,
affects.
it does.
It affects.
Yeah,
It affects the conversation and one-to-one coaching. You have to
yeah,
maintain, okay, before you go into that context, you have to make sure your state is optimal.
yeah, yeah. And people talk to me a lot about manifestation, but actually, what we were actually talking about from a scientific perspective is state management and mind management, isn't it? Which is if you set up your mind right, in the
Yeah,
right ways, with the right toolkit, with the right strategies, and you research those and you invest a little bit of time in managing oneself, isn't it funny how your relationships improve, how you have more success, your health gets better because you're making better choices? You can call that manifestation or you can call that knowledge. It's entirely your choice.
you've also got to take action.
Correct. Yeah.
I mean, not so much now, I think, but it's still there. It's still out there a lot.
Yeah,
You,
yeah.
you see the law of attraction, law of manifestation, and
Hmm.
you just have to think about it.
Yeah.
You think about it, right? Now, I wanted a little exercise in a corporate thing I did
Hmm.
years ago. I asked us get in a circle, sit in a circle, put a
Hmm.
candle in the middle, lit the candle. Like, there might have been a few health and safety issues there, but they were all right. You know, bit of calamine lotion on, you were fine. So I said, look at the candle. Everyone look at the candle and will the candle out.
Hmm.
Extinguish the candle with your mind. And they go, you know, just do it. Right? And they're like that. You know, they knew I was joking.
Yeah.
Do you think the candle went out?
No.
I walked over. You have to go up and blow the candle out.
Yeah.
All the positive vibes in the world.
Oh, I know.
You've got to take some action.
Yeah. Yeah.
But here's the thing, as far as I'm concerned, this is how I think the manifestation law of attraction works. When you've got a clear outcome, what
Yeah.
like for instance, what you'll see, what you'll hear, what you'll feel, what you really want, right?
Hmm.
Then your brain sets up that filtering system, so it'll be attuned to opportunities.
Yeah.
And the example I often use, depending on what the context is, let's say you go into town, you're going to Liverpool, you're going into the city centre because you're going to a party.
Yeah.
And if it's a woman, might want a red dress, or a man might want a tuxedo, black tuxedo, right?
Right.
You'll go down to different shops, and you'll tend not to notice green dresses, blue dresses, white dresses,
Yeah.
like that. And red dresses will sort of literally jump out. You'll notice red dress. That makes sense.
Yeah. No,
You'll
absolutely.
notice like the black tuxedo as opposed to the beige
And
velvet.
that's linked to the RAS system, isn't it? The reticular activation system.
Yeah, it tells you what to look at, what to look for.
Yeah. To explain very quickly what that is, the RAS system or the
Well,
RAS
it it
system
it it
itself.
it, it tells you what I've just said there, what to pay attention to, what's important. Yeah,
Mm.
like for instance, if I'm talking to you, right, we're
Yeah.
having a conversation right now. Let's say I get which has happened before actually. Let's say I get really bad cramp in my calf,
Yeah.
right? Now I could be all right, so
Yeah.
like no, I'm going to hurt myself, right? So
Hmm.
it's I just no, don't pay attention, break off the conversation and sort that cramp out.
Yes.
I've got to get up and sort it out and move,
Yeah.
which the way you had to done in the past,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. Does that make sense? It tells
Yeah.
you what. Hang on, danger here.
So it sends a message to your brain on what to focus on.
Yes.
So what we're actually saying is, let's imagine there's no cramp, but you're free to choose what you want to decide your life to be like or your day to be like. You
Yeah.
need to send your RAS part of your brain in the direction of an outcome rather than just constantly worrying and complaining, because otherwise you
Yeah.
will find those.
And that sort of shifts into what we were talking about before the podcast. What what questions do you need to ask? The
Yeah.
quality of the questions you need to ask,
Yeah. Yeah.
will determine what your outcomes are or whether you get your outcome or not. Right.
That's
So
true.
if
Yeah.
you're in a let's say crap state, suboptimal state, right? If you can, okay, what do we need to focus on in order to move this? What do we
Yeah.
need to focus on to just move that 1%, to just go that
Yeah.
1%, right?
Yeah.
I still do it now.
Hmm.
Sometimes if things aren't going the way, I want them to go, or I'm okay, well, I just do one thing. What's the
Yeah.
1%? What do we need to do to move this forward? You know?
It's interesting that because I do this a lot. And if I feel that I'm not aligned with where I want to be in the day, I
Mhm.
do sit down, I switch everything off genuinely, and I go, number one, how would I like to feel? And how far away from that am I at the moment? Right. And what's stopping me feeling that? What's the one big thing or the one little thing that's not working for me that means I feel this way? Right. And then
Mhm.
how are you going to deal with that? Literally those sort of two or three questions. And then you have, like you say about blowing the candle out, you have to take action on these things. And then I do the very thing to remove the problem or to maximize the opportunity. And then I go back into where I was before and I notice the difference.
Mm.
It's recalibrating my environment, my state, and my awareness. And I
Yeah,
think those three things are really important.
absolutely. I see it quite a lot in what I do.
Yeah.
With a lot of people, they
Mhm.
they 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 suffer from narcissistic abuse, emotional abuse, right,
Right. Yeah.
over a number of relationships, right, um, and the vast majority of them are so well clued up in narcissism, the nine traits of a narcissist or
Mhm.
whatever, but yeah, and they research and research and research, right? And and they go down this black hole,
Yeah.
but then it stops there. The
That's
most
right.
educated
Mm.
people on narcissism or on emotional abuse, but then they don't say, okay, what do we need to do, what do we need to start doing
Yeah.
that I'm not doing? What do we need to stop doing that I am
It's
doing?
it's almost like rumination on the problem. If you talk about your problems a lot, but not the solutions or not where you want to be, it's just going to come into the forefront of your mind, isn't it? So you have to be able to reflect, review, but then decide what the future looks like and pace yourself into that. Okay. So I think that's really important messaging.
I think I think overwhelm comes in that as well,
Yeah.
because I can only talk about the context that I work in a lot, which is a lot of people in that situation or being in that situation, they can't even perceive of being having a normal life or
Yeah.
having a better life. They're just
Yeah.
in this hole, right?
Sure.
Or when you in the past, if you tried to think about it,
Mm.
it seems miles away,
Of course.
unobtainable. When you're in a black hole, you think that's all there is. But all we're looking for is that one white dot
Yeah.
of light. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Hmm.
So we don't go for the, if you've never if I've worked with people before when they say, I've done nothing. I used to run marathons. I haven't done
Yeah.
anything. But when I think about running a marathon, okay, so walk round the block. That's the
That's it.
first step. That's the
Yeah. Yeah.
1%. It sounds obvious, but it's amazing how many people will sit there and go, yeah, I should walk around the block,
Well, I think,
and
I
don't.
mean, let's just finish on this in terms of like, let's give people sort of 3 tips to conclude this conversation. But I think the first tip is these I call them micro nudges forward. And people do know lots of answers. They do, right? They're
Mhm.
just unwilling to commit to them because they might lose something, either part of their identity, or they might realize that they've been lying to themselves for 25 years or whatever it is. But if you've got to, by design, decide who you are, where you want to be, and start nudging yourself that 1% every day towards that avatar in your mind, if you like. And I
Mhm.
think just breaking big, intimidating challenges down into something that is manageable would be the first advantageous tip, right?
Mhm.
What, what would you add to that as a second tip?
Uh, Similar to that, um, I think we've spoken about this before, but each of us have what is often called an emotional set point.
Hmm.
Now, if we're stuck in it, if we've spent 25 years, as you said, in a particular way of thinking, way of being, way of thinking, we have an emotional set point. So, for instance, it might be nothing's ever going to work.
Yeah,
Life's crap. Life's a bowl of toenails,
yeah,
bowl of toenails. With that, you could win the lottery, and you'll
yeah,
go, wow. Then over time, you'll go back to the emotional mindset of,
right,
got 2 million in the bank and I'm still life's still crap. You know.
yeah,
On the other side of the coin, if your emotional set point, should we say, emotional set point is generally, what, life's okay. I'll be all right. Whatever happens, I'll be okay. That's my one actually. Whatever happens, I might feel a bit, but I
yeah,
know it's going to be okay. It's going to be right. Right? You could have an accident, you could have a trauma, whatever it might be, whatever it might be, but adversity will rear its head.
yeah,
And you might go, oh, this is terrible. But over time, you'll go back to that, return to that. Okay, I've been through a lot. It's bad. What do we need to do now? Okay, life's okay. What are the steps I need to take? Right
yeah,
now,
yeah,
here's the point. It's not set in stone. Like everything, it's not set in stone. So if you find yourself, your emotional set point is generally looking on the bad side of things or quite stressful, right? Do things, and I mean little things that gradually nudge up your shift your emotional emotional set point
Right.
to where you want it
Yeah.
to be. Does that make sense?
Okay.
And that
Yeah.
can be as little as 10 minutes meditation, making
Yeah.
your favorite cup of tea,
Yeah.
going for a walk,
Yeah,
anything.
listen to a song that you like.
Listen
or-
to a song
yeah,
that you like,
yeah.
anything. And again, as we said earlier, it accrues,
Yeah.
it mounts up. Right?
Yeah.
So your emotional set point becomes what's that got to do with burnout? It's easier if you do suffer from burnout, it's easier to get back to that emotional set point.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, and the third tip I think, and just add to this very quickly, is I think goes back to the flow, is not just nudge yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit on a regular basis, but also you've got to self-manage. Stop trying to be significant by doing too much for too many people too often, right? And prioritize. Learn the art of managing time and managing emotions and scheduling and prioritizing around outcome orientation rather than worrying about, if I don't do this, I'm not going to be popular. If I don't do this, they're not going to like me. If I don't do this, I'm not going to be credible. It's about knowing who you are and deciding what your days look like, and then scheduling in the right amount of quality work and quality time to do a really good job. Yeah.
That in itself is worth another podcast, because to know who you are,
Yeah.
you really need to know
Yeah.
values, what you believe, what's really important to you, and not many
Sure.
people do.
No, they don't. That's right. And we will talk about that. Yeah,
They may
absolutely.
espouse it,
Yeah, correct.
what's important to them, but
Yeah. Brilliant. Terry?
that'll be for another day.
Absolutely. My friend, thank you very much for this conversation. And yeah, we will
Absolute
catch
pleasure.
up again soon. See you
Okay.
later.
See you
Bye.
later. Bye bye.